So we're at Ondine at Seaton House in St Andrews, and we're sitting right by the window in the restaurant overlooking West Sands Beach and the North Sea, and it's a lovely night, and Kelly and I are having a lovely romantic meal. Oysters and champagne. So anyone that knows Ondine in Edinburgh will know that it moved out of Edinburgh towards the end of last year, and the view that we're sitting looking at just now is very different to what you would have been seeing in the restaurant over the last 5 years, because it was covered in scaffolding, and they left kind of due to the nature of that and the state of the building. So they opened up here. They've just been recommended by the Michelin Guide, and we're going to talk to Roy about the move, about the new restaurant, about the new location and the Michelin recommendation. So yeah, looking forward to that and looking forward to more of the lovely meal.
Hello, I'm Craig Grierson. I'm the restaurant manager here at Ondine Seaton House. So we've got Cumbria oysters. We have fresh oysters with a firecracker dressing, which is chopped chilli, chopped shallots, rice wine vinegar and mirin. And then we have the crispy oysters. Cumbria oysters, deep fried, served with the buffalo sauce. So we toss the oyster through the buffalo sauce, and then we've got the ranch dressing. So you can't have oysters without champagne. Veal cart salmon champagne. Enjoy.
Had Cumbria oysters 2 ways, lovely, really quite spicy, but not too much. Yeah, I could have had another 6 of them. Hello and welcome to Scran, the podcast passionate about the Scottish food and drink scene. As you just heard on this episode of Scran, producer Kelly and I took a visit to Seaton House in St Andrews to sample Ondine Mark II and chat to Roy Brett, chef patron of Ondine restaurants and Valor Hotels in the UK, and Michael Davern, general manager of Seaton House. You'll hear snippets from the meal we enjoyed and a tour Michael took us on of the new hotel. We hope you enjoy it. We're here in Seaton House in St Andrews in a lovely sea view suite on the first floor, overlooking the West Sands and the sea. It's not raining, which is good for today, and lovely view. And I'm joined by Roy and Michael to have a chat about what's going on at the hotel and the new look Ondine restaurant. So Roy, we spoke a few years ago and a lot of things have changed since then. So for anyone that doesn't know, do you want to just kind of give us a kind of update on what happened and how you're here now?
Yeah, well, I think everybody in Edinburgh and Scotland were aware that our building was under scaffolding for 5 years. We were forced to leave October last year because we had to move out because of the works they had to continue. It would be 8 months so that, at least. So we had no alternative to move out because there was no income coming in. So we unfortunately had to close the doors after 15 years. So a longer story was Michael and I have got a mutual friend, Ewan McGlashan, who's the CEO for Valor Hotels, and he approached me some time ago, as he did with Michael in a different way, but just to see if I'd be interested in bringing Ondine to Seaton House. So that was always going to be happening. So it wasn't a jump ship from leaving Edinburgh and then coming to St Andrews. It was all part of the plan. It just so happened that, unfortunately, our baby in Edinburgh had to close, and then we opened up here.
For people missing Ondine, you've also got the fish market in Newhaven.
Yeah, I love the fish market. It's a venture I went into with Gary Welsh from Welsh Fishmongers, and while I was working in Ondine, it was, Gary's, became one of my best friends. I really admired him as a fish merchant. I really loved the way he worked, his family ethics, the produce that we get, and I'm sure you're aware it's an incredible fish merchant. And we became friends, and we always talked about opening this fish and chip restaurant, but to make it much more than that. We've certainly achieved that over the last 5 to 6 years, so it's going really, really well, really strong. And a lot of the family of Ondine are down there now, so there's at least 10 of the team that was actually at George Fortbridge are now down at the fish market.
So, Michael, do you want to just tell us a little bit about your involvement in the hotel, how you got to this point, and a little bit about the hotel? Because obviously we're here now, we've been wandering about. We've talked about how it's a bit of a war-in, so do you want to just explain a bit about the history?
Seaton House, so it dates back to 1864, and we're in two buildings. One was a boarding school, boys' boarding school, and then there was Seaton House, which was the home of the Seaton family, you know, here in St Andrews. And then the two of those got merged into the boarding school. And then laterally, these two buildings joined together became the Scores Hotel, and that operated for many, many years until 2019 or so. Then a group of investors, they bought this, and they obviously had a dream to create a truly special hotel in St Andrews. I've worked an awful lot in golf associated hotels, always in luxury hotels, but very much they always had golf. So I was just fascinated with a hotel so close to the most famous golf course in the world in St Andrews, which is just an amazing place to create a hotel so special, so small, personalised, with fantastic food and beverage offering, obviously with Ondine and so on. Every aspect of the hotel has these amazing views, and if you're in Ondine, you're looking straight out over West Sands Beach, which is obviously very famous from the Oscar-winning movie Chariots of Fire, where they were running along, and you see it with the tide right out at the moment. Then you have the view right down the first fairway of the old course. I mean, it's just magical. People, they arrive here, they sort of come in, and then you have to step them back outside again just to give them that moment where you say, well, that is the old course right there, that's it. And then you've, Martyrs Monument outside, loads of history. So it's really just a superb location. It's fantastic.
The pepper monkfish, we've got some buttered spinach, and we've got the Shetland mussels marinara. The fries and peppercorn sausage coming. So the monkfish, basically, it's a monkfish tail. It's just in a really nice pepper marinade. We cook on the char grill, so it's got a bit of a char to it. It's delicious, and your peppercorn sauce is to follow.
Oh, thank you very much.
Enjoy.
Honestly, it's kind of like a steak. It's kind of weird because it's fish, but it's obviously monkfish is quite meaty. But the way they've cooked it in the sauce just reminds you of like a really good like ribeye steak. So yeah, lovely. Obviously, we talked about your mutual connection, but how important was it for you to have a sort of well-established, well-known restaurant within here? Because obviously St Andrews has got a few like really nice luxury hotels. Was it quite important to have that brand of food that people within Scotland anyway would know about?
Yeah, I think it's really important because, there's so much more to St Andrews than golf. Obviously, it's a fantastic destination. It's a wonderful place to be. So you want to be really established within the community and everything else. And obviously, a key way to do that is to have a magnificent restaurant like Ondine here. And particularly Ondine's long established position in Edinburgh. I mean, it's fantastic to have the ability to extend that over to St Andrews. A lot of people come here from Edinburgh because they know Ondine and they're passionate about that for many, many years, So
when we last saw you, we ate in Ondine in Edinburgh, and then we ate here last night, and it was really lovely. Is it similar menu, different menu? Can people expect some dishes that they recognise, or has it had a complete overhaul?
Yeah, I think the foundation's still the same. There's certain dishes like our fish soup that's been on for 15 years. It's like a staple. I always feel like, we don't open if the fish soup's not on, and it's something that people come for. I just felt like with the menu that we're doing just now, we do listen to the customer. We do recognise that we're within a hotel as well, and there's different demands for guests. They have different, when they want to eat and what time, etc. Things kind of change. But I think the menu in Ondine is starting to grow really well just now. I think we started quite slowly in terms of how much we put out of the Ondine original menu, and we're starting to find what the menu is going to be here. So it's taking its own shape, and the group that I'm working with just now, they're understanding the produce, they're understanding the approach and how the dishes come around, and I'm starting to see the fruits starting to come through with the chefs and their belief in what we're trying to do. So we've got a lot of local accents in the kitchen, some really great young guys and girls who they're trusting us with their futures. They're working with us, so we're we're trying to educate them at the same time on the produce and why we make things, and there's a reason, and the ones that have stayed around, they're starting to get the fruits out of their hard labour. So yeah, it's a really interesting time. It's a lot of development work with people, so it's similar to what we used to do in Ondine in Edinburgh.
Yeah, I was going to say, last time we spoke about how you're bringing people over from different countries and developing them, so it's kind of a similar thing here.
For me, what's really important is that, we've got a lot of little neighbourhoods around this area, and I've got a young chef from Fruki, and he's a really great guy. He comes in every day. He's starting right at the very beginning, and he's starting to find his feet. He's starting to become really reliable and consistent, and he's understanding what he's doing. And sometimes we were looking further away when we were in Edinburgh because we were looking for overseas. I'm looking around the neighbourhoods around here and trying to develop the people here. So it's a similar approach, it's just maybe not as far reaching.
It'll be good for Fife.
All told, we have 60 people working here, and the vast majority are from Fife, aren't they? They're local, which is fantastic, So you hear all the local accents. And
you find some real talent, real talent. I mean, we've got quite a strong nucleus coming from Dundee.
Yeah.
And there's some brilliant young people in that restaurant and kitchen just now. They're starting to. Well, you tasted the food last night. They're cooking.
Yeah, it was lovely. I was going to say, I know where to come if I need another job. I'm from Fife, so.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. The question everyone is probably always still asking you: are you going to open again in Edinburgh?
Honestly, we're in a legal dispute just now, and we need to see that through first. I think everybody just assumed that one closes, one opens, and I think the reality of the matter is it's not quite as easy as that. I've been lucky to have Seaton House and Fish Market because they give me sanity at this point. We are going to come back and do it, and it's not one of these sort of hollow words and just, like we've left the Instagram open, we've left our website, and even TripAdvisor, we got a bad review last week, funny enough, and we've not been open for 6 months, which is quite incredible. I'll need to address that today, actually. But yeah, it's we are planning to open again. I've got a nucleus of people still around that are actually who are employees or ex-employees are still wanting to do it, and we still believe we've got enough within us to do it again. But when we say doing it again, it's given me time to think about how we'll do it, and I would imagine by the time we get to do it, Michael, it'll probably be different again,
Yeah, everything evolves. And
so we've got a lot of thinking time just now, which is it's that hour and a half down, an hour and a half back. It's gives you some food for thought.
Could you see it being in another hotel in Edinburgh, or do you want it to be like a standalone, or is that something that you're just sort of mulling over and all the different options?
I think we probably would be standalone. I don't know, this is working well for us just now, and we're enjoying the challenges of coming back into a hotel and readjusting. I'm not saying it was really easy just to come in and do it all over again and back into hotels, but you've been in hotels, you've still got that DNA inside you. But yeah, we'll see what happens.
So last night we were having a lovely dinner, and there was a big table behind us had come from Edinburgh, regulars. We spoke to Craig about that. Is that happen quite often, and how does it make you feel?
Almost every night there's a regular from Ondine in Edinburgh in the restaurants, and we've had occasions, Michael, we've had a full restaurant and it's all regulars. So how does that make you feel? Fantastic. And they ask the same question: when are you opening? But they says, well, if you're not open yet, we'll come and support you here. And it's a great feeling, because the connections you make over a 16-year period, it's not just a customer, they become a friend, so it's the relationship goes much, much deeper. And you're having people who over 16 years would have 18th birthdays, 21st birthdays, retirals, last suppers, you have everybody, and the support's been amazing. The support's been amazing, and they love the new Ondine look and the vibe. They love the views because they've not had a view for 5 years because of bloody scaffolding. But at the same time, they still frequented Edinburgh regardless if we had scaffolding or not. They came for the food and Craig's wonderful service. So we were always about both. We were never about just the food. It was about the service. It was about both. It's never just about the food. I think sometimes chefs get caught up in about them, the ego and the food. It's definitely about both together. I think that's something we always try to achieve in Ondine, that both matter. And so to answer your question, it's great. And I know the guys that were in last night. It's funny, I just did a dinner at the local rugby club, my son's rugby club, with Martin Wishart at the weekend, and the guys found out it was on and they were really quite cross. They never got an invite. So the next dinner we're doing with Tony Singh up at Curry Rugby Club, if anybody likes a ticket. And they've just booked up a table of 10 for that. So it's great to have regulars.
Yeah, that's really nice. Having moved, although it's not a million miles away, have your suppliers stayed the same, or is there some more local people?
Well, that's a good question, because we are still working with a lot of the suppliers that we worked with before. Ian Mellis, and with Rory running the business now. And what we tried to do is we're trying to tap into the local market, and it's something that Michael and I are looking at in the fall. It's a focus with our new chef, is to actually bring in the smaller independent suppliers that are just here. We're working with David Lowry at St Monans. We worked with David before, but we're working with him. But at the same time, of course, I'm going to work with Welsh fishmongers. They're fantastic. I mean, why wouldn't I? I think their smoked salmon's the best in the country, in my opinion. But the customers, because they absolutely love it. You love it.
Yeah, I love it. I can't get enough.
So it always has been a focus, but the next focus, when we're going to have a little bit of time in the winter, is to really get to know the local market. And I think we've got a lot more to do. There's lots of produce that we're using which is local, but we need to go in deeper. And the new chef, Lee Murdoch, who's just started with us, funny, this week, isn't it? So this week. So he's into his second week now, and one of his roles is to bring in the local voices into the kitchen.
I had tiramisu, which was very nice, very creamy, and not too much coffee, which is good for me at this time of night. And your sorbet looked amazing and tasted very good as well.
The sorbet was absolutely delicious. It was strawberry black currant and like a pear sorbet, which I'm not sure I've ever had before. Really delicious. And then some other berries as well. And it's just been a lovely evening.
Michael, so next year will be like your first full year, and your summer season that you've just had. Are you going to do anything differently? Like, has it been a bit of a learning? What's it been like in the first year since opening?
I think we're all, you're always trying to constantly improve. A lot of it is about local experiences and getting people to, just have that genuine warmth and authenticity about the destination that we're in. Little things like encouraging people to go for a swim. We've got, dry robes for them, and it's constantly just trying to excel and just try and create this feeling of just unbelievable hospitality and surprising all the time. So we work with people on enhancing those experiences, the bicycles, the cycles, the picnics, all the different things that people want to do, but it's just exciting them, constantly surprising them, that, we didn't think that would happen. So that's what we work on really, really well with the team, and to make that so natural and that it just occurs at every moment, And the foods that most hotels try to navigate their way towards creating an independent, local restaurant that's not sort of a hotel restaurant where they try to create food that excels, and they go on that journey. And that's what, I've been doing that journey all my life in hotels. Here, that's a journey we didn't need because we start straight away with Ondine. So we're really, really lucky in that regard.
You guys were in the Michelin Guide recommended for a long time, and then you've just been re-recommended here. And how important do you find that for this environment? Because obviously Edinburgh's got a lot of tourists, but St Andrews also got a lot of tourists, maybe different kinds of tourists. Like, is that a big draw for people? Is it a big draw for the hotel?
Yeah, I think any recognition is excellent, And at the same time, though, you just constantly want to be on your own route and where you need to go and what you need to do and stick to your journey and these things will come. It's really, really good to receive accolades because I suppose a lot of people pay a lot of attention to them and that's really important, so it's a great help.
And were you quite happy to get the recommendation again? For
me, Michelin's not something I've ever chased or aspired for. I do appreciate the standard of the guide of what it is, and it's a well put together guide. A lot of people do follow it, and for them to navigate themselves up to here. But it's for 16 years we've never cooked for a guide. We've only cooked for customers. So awards came as you know in Edinburgh and a lot, but that was never the driving force. It was to cook really good food, and I think we've been working with Rick's time before Ondine. It was that time when you're actually working with fishermen, you're working direct to source. It's all about produce, it's all about your people, and the other part comes if they like it or if it's recognised. And as long as we've got a really full restaurant and our people are happy with what we're trying to do and our approach, then for me that's the best guide I can have.
Yeah, I think that's what kind of stood out last night. It was a Tuesday night and it was so busy and bustling and like you say, it's not like a hotel restaurant. Like, sometimes you go in and there's no atmosphere and it's dead and you're like, it was really nice.
That's good. I've not eaten in there yet.
I don't know, have you eaten? And did you have a favourite dish?
Oh, I've eaten lots there, yeah. I've eaten lots there. I have to say, I try lots of things, but I just gravitate back to smoked salmon all the time because it's just so good.
You love your smoked salmon.
I just think it's so good. Yeah, and obviously being Irish, we think Irish smoked salmon is great, and I've eaten some amazing Irish smoked salmon, but this smoked salmon's better now. So I'm struggling, but no, I love that. And you could get addicted to those oysters.
Oh yeah, they were. Yeah. The deep fried ones were amazing. Yeah, the buffalo.
When we put them on, I was like, right, we just had them on in Edinburgh before, and I said, right, so 3 months had passed, but now people are coming back for them, and people love them. Our overseas guests, they absolutely adore them. But it's funny, like I think I ate in Edinburgh 3 times in 15 years, so it's not something I'm planning to do quite soon. Got a few years to go. I want a meal.
Oh, it's supposed to be a bit like a busman's holiday if you're sitting in your own restaurant having your own food. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I was sitting with Michael and Craig and we're going through our strategies going forward and how we're going to evolve. We've got our new chef, we've got our new food and beverage manager, and as we're structuring to go forward into the winter and autumn, then winter and Thanksgiving and St Andrew's Day and all these sort of celebrations, and you suddenly start looking at the room and going, right, we need to do this, we need to, so you start really homing in on the rooms. So it is important to be in there. Yeah. We've got our boxes, we just need to start ticking them out.
It's like sleeping, it's like sleeping in your hotel bedrooms. You have to do it because, if you walk in the door, that's a very different view. You might think that you're seeing everything and how it works and how it functions, but when you actually, I know it sounds funny, but when you lie in the bed, that's a different view, the functionality of the room only becomes apparent to you by sleeping in the room, whether everything works. And
you slept in them all, haven't you?
I slept in every room. Yeah. Well, you got it, don't you? I mean,
I was very worried about you at that point, but then I get it. I do get it. But I was like, what's he doing?
I'm sure you've tasted every single thing you've ever cooked.
That's true. Fair enough.
Who's drinking every single glass of wine? That's what I want to know.
I tell you, Craig's got a challenge there.
Little touch of Scotland in terms of, stag's heads just on the bed head there. It's very subtle and lovely. The tartan throw on the bed. There's about 12 different tartans used, and they're the tartans of all the Scottish people that were involved in the project, that worked on it, interior design, and some of the builders, and and all basically based on their names. It was a nice thing to do. I want to show you the garden, and it's a beautiful garden. So what's amazing in St Andrews really is the size of the space behind all these houses, and when you see it, it's quite surprising. So, and then we have 5 suites there, which are our garden terrace suites, and they have their own private terraces, and you can sit out, and it's a real sun trap, because that's where the sun is for most of the day there.
So Michael, you've come from Ireland. What are your experiences of the Scottish industry versus Ireland?
I spent a good bit of time in South Africa, a good bit of time in the Caribbean. I was in Ireland in the early 90s on the opening of a luxury hotel, and then came back to run that hotel. Latterly 2005, I worked in the UK as a trainee manager many years ago in the late 80s. This is my first time working in Scotland. But the Scottish and the Irish are very, very similar. So I think and everything is cultural, and I think the culture is very similar. And I think, like Irish people, if you take, chefs or people in hospitality, and the same as in Ireland, they've gone away, they've probably learnt their skills somewhere, they've worked overseas. Luckily for, I suppose, in Scotland, you can go down to London, the same as the Irish would have gone to London, where, you have a huge array of hotels, restaurants and everything. And I think so many Irish people, be they general managers of hotels, successful chefs, etc. I mean, everybody worked in maybe London at some point. So I think we share all of that, like where we get our knowledge from and everything. But I think our culture and our humour and everything is exactly the same.
And there's a sister hotel in Northern Ireland, is that right?
Yeah, so under the Lynx Collection, which is the investment group that own Seaton House with Valor, we also developed a hotel called Dunluce Lodge in Northern Ireland. It's really, really special because it's on the Causeway Coast. It's actually on the 4th fairway of Royal Portrush Golf Course, where the Open was held just in July, just gone. And some of the team from there come over here and vice versa, which is really nice for us to do that exchange of knowledge and training between those two hotels. It's lovely.
Nice. We need to go there next, Kelly. Roy, what are your plans for the next sort of 12 months?
Well, the most important thing is to really get this place fully established, working with the team here, getting a really good settlement, and working with Michael and the group that we've got here, and just to develop up what we've already started. Edinburgh need to resolve the ongoing Ondine and finalise that from a legal perspective, and then after that it's going to give me sort of clearance to what we can do next. So I think we've got enough going on just now. And also the fish market's had a fantastic season, so I need to spend some more time with my team down there and more time with Gary and developing that as well. So it's there's not a dull moment.
Well, it doesn't sound like it. So thank you very much for your time. I know you're both really busy, but it's been great to chat and find out more, and thanks again for the lovely meal.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then here, when we come through here, then we come into the lobby area for Ondine, and we have our whiskey cabinet here with all the individual bottles. This is like our founders collection, so some very, very good customers and some of our owners or investors or very regular guests will have their own whiskey here with their name on it, so that they can obviously offer a wee dram to their friends when they come, or enjoy it themselves.
Who's got the Springbank whiskey?
It's actually, that one is actually ours, yeah.
Oh, nice.
In the Springbank, yeah. So this is Bobot's Bar, And beside it is the boardroom where we serve breakfast in the mornings, and we also do cheese and charcuterie and all day dining there. So during the day, that's somewhere you could go and have a burger or have some chicken wings or whatever, and we do some nice things, or oysters. And here in the bar, you can see we have a magnificent whiskey collection behind all these cabinets. We've over 100 scotches. So magnificent range of them. And the Beau Butts bar then it's called after Beau Butts, which is the area straight out here. There's the Champions Medal for archery going back to 1655 that we discovered through the research, and the work on it, and that's why we called it Beau Butts, because it's so special. So you're sitting there in the window, obviously overlooking the sea and all of that, but where the bandstand was the natural area where the archery competitions were. The archery has a great story in St Andrews as well, in particular, because golf was banned at one point because it was distracting the archers from their practice. So there's not many places in the world where that happened.
I'll bring back the archery, although don't tell my dad.
Yeah. There's an archery club in the university in St Andrews, and they were up here recently, and that's the oldest club in the world. It has a history going back to 1600s, with the university. Amazing, and still to this day, obviously there's an archery club. I'm sure these days they're probably in the Olympics and all sorts of things, but it's a lovely story.
Thank you very much for showing us around, and we're quite disappointed to have to leave, but thank you.
No, you're very welcome, and you'll be more than welcome to stay, but I'm sure you'll be back soon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks to Roy and Michael for joining me on the podcast. I'll be eagerly anticipating news of Ondine's return to Edinburgh. Until then, I can highly recommend a trip to Seaton House for your seafood fix. Scran is co-produced and hosted by me, Rosalind Erskine, and co-produced, edited and mixed by Kelly Crichton.